What is up, everyone? We are back with another video, another post from the Neville Sub. This one is called How to Understand the Law Perfectly and Manifest Anything Starting Now. So, let me start by saying that I agree with the idea that imagination creates reality. At least I agree with the true meaning behind it. I do, however, believe that we can convey this meaning in an even more powerful way. We appear to be able to actually manifest things into reality. It appears so that if you believe something and if you adhere to the rules of manifestation, you can actually give birth to it in reality. And I think it's a good way to describe what is happening, to describe what we see. But there is an even better way to describe this phenomenon. This helped me understand it a lot better and manifest a lot quicker. And hopefully it helps you too, along with other people who are still struggling to try to understand Neville and Joseph Murphy's teachings. What I pose is that reality isn't birthed by imagination. Imagination doesn't literally create reality. I believe that reality is the external appearance of imagination. We've talked about this many times, that reality, the inner reality is the true reality. The outer reality is merely a mirror reflected image of it. So, reality is what imagination looks like when perceived across a space-time canvas/continuum. I believe that imagination and reality are the same thing. They are literally the same thing. Imagination is simply the intrinsic feeling, whereas reality is the external experience. As living beings, life forms, we are experiencing imagination/consciousness from within itself. We call it reality. And as individualized points of consciousness in time and space, we believe that it is the only reality because it appears so to us. However, we know that this is not entirely true because we also experience an internal reality. This is what we call consciousness or imagination. Now, the mainstream consensus about where this intrinsic reality comes from consists of two views. The materialist view, that consciousness is nothing but a byproduct of the complex activities of the brain, and the pantheistic view, which is that consciousness is intrinsic to everything. All things dead or alive are imbued with a degree of consciousness. I believe both are flawed because both explanations pose a duality, and I believe this duality to be non-existent and also completely unnecessary. This is where my personal view has influenced completely by, in my opinion, the greatest philosopher of our era, Bernardo Kastrup. I have not heard of Bernardo Kastrup, but let's continue. He poses an entirely new way of looking at this metaphysical problem. The truth is, whatever your beliefs are, you are right now experiencing a magnificent internal world, a complete first-person experience of life. But were I to look at what is happening inside you, I would simply see your brain and inside it patterns of neural activity and your internal organs working to keep your body alive. This is not because the one generates the other, or the one is imbued with the other, but it's because one is simply the appearance of the other. The brain is the appearance of consciousness, then viewed across another point of view. For example, think about a melody. You can hear and experience the melody, but were I to look inside you, this same melody would appear to me as nothing more than patterns of brain activity. So your first-person experience, your inner life, is the intrinsic aspect of your being, and your brain-body system is the external appearance. We know that we are made of matter, and we know now that this matter is what our consciousness or inner life looks like externally. Now, the entire universe is also made of matter, so we have a very good reason to believe that there must be an intrinsic aspect, an inner life to the entire universe. So this intrinsic aspect is not somehow imbued inside of the matter. The intrinsic aspect is the matter. It is the entire universe. When looking at the brain-body system, we know that we're looking at the appearance of an intrinsic aspect, an inner life. So what about the glorious system of the infinite universe? We are looking at the external appearance of a magnificent infinite life, an infinite mind. This is what is spoken about in the Kybalion, that the all is mind. So I believe that this is a mystical power higher than is referred to a lot in the scripture or philosophy. And so I pose the exact same thing applies to manifestation. Reality is the external appearance of imagination. Reality is what imagination looks like when viewed across time and space. And this is why when you visualize something and you believe in it, it actually appears to happen in time and space. I believe that this is exactly what Neville meant by feeling is the secret. The actual feeling or the belief of something that you know to be true, this feeling is the intrinsic aspect of the entire universe. So if you believe that you are the man/woman you want to be and you actually believe it and feel it, then reality has no choice but to conform. And not because it is forced by some kind of magical power, but because reality is the external experience of precisely that feeling. It is that feeling, or I would say that awareness, because the word feeling tends to have this connotation of emotion, which we then connote with various ideas of excitement or joy or sadness. And the simple awareness doesn't have to have that attachment. It just is an awareness of this is. It is what that awareness looks like when projected onto the screen of space. And when you feel it, you're not waiting for it to happen. It already happened. Or when you are aware of it. Makes sense now, right? So, a lot of people are commenting about this and as if they've not heard this perspective before. I mean, in all fairness, maybe this, maybe they haven't, or something about this explanation made it click for the people in the comments. However, I do think that this is nothing new in my opinion, because if you understand and if you've read the Kybalion and the Hermetic principles, the teachings of that are the same thing, that reality is all imagination, it is all awareness, it is all mental. And the more that we are able to conceive in our mind, in our imagination, in our intention, and through our inner world, the reality of our choosing, what we focus on, where we focus attention on is what grows, then we are able to bring that into being. But I do think that there is value in this, because a lot of the times, if you're reading the Kybalion, for example, it's very esoteric. The wording is very almost poetic, esoteric. It's very kind of much more metaphorical language, whereas here, using commonly used, the way that somebody would phrase this in today's modern time can be actually very valuable, because now we have this same idea being conveyed by this person who has kind of taken the idea and put it into their own words. And I feel as if because of that, it is valuable. And if this makes it click for you, the as within, so without, so to speak, principles that are in the Kybalion and in the Emerald Tablets and in some of these ancient teachings, then that's perfect. That's exactly what we want. So anyways, a valuable post. What you're saying is quite logical from Neville's teaching, but I never thought about it like that before. And so somebody clarified, you're saying there is no separation between imagination and physical reality. They are two sides of the same coin. The only reason they appear different or separate is because of first versus third person perspective. Therefore, when we imagine something, it has indeed already happened, which is why the 3D bound by time in time will reflect the internalized experience. So reality is indeed our imagination, and imagination is indeed our reality. It took me a minute, but I think this is what you're saying. It helps with the it's done part. We each have our own internal and external reality because we each have our own perspective. And the OP said, bingo, this is exactly it. Two sides of the same coin is an excellent way of phrasing it. Anyways, interesting post. And yeah, let me know what you guys think about this down below. If you guys agree, is this pretty much a modern way of phrasing what's in the Kybalion? If you guys agree with that, or do you think that they kind of touched on something in a different, unique way than those teachings have? With that being said, much love as always. Hit me with a like, hit me with a subscribe, and I will see you guys in the next video.